Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be fun if we went through Am I the A-hole stories on Reddit. So if you're into that, please like and subscribe and comment down what your thoughts are on any of these. I haven't read any of them except for like the title of them, so this is going to be a real-time reaction. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So number 1. Am I the a-hole for letting my daughter stay with me and my wife after she found out that her mom lied to her? My ex and I have a 12-year-old daughter, Olivia, with autism level 2. What does that mean? Oh, level 2 is requiring substantial support. Okay. My ex has primary custody and I have Olivia on Wednesdays and every other weekend. A few months ago, my ex told me she was feeling a little burnt out, so she wanted us to keep Olivia from Wednesday to Sunday so she could go on a trip with some friends. Olivia is very attached to her mom, and so my ex told Olivia that it was a work trip that she had to go on. Last week, one of my ex's friends was at the house with my ex and Olivia, and their vacation somehow came up. Olivia figured out that the vacation was the work trip that her mom told her about and freaked out because her mom lied to her, and her mom doesn't lie. She hid in her room for the rest of the day, then called me and asked her to get her. She'd been with us ever since. She's really upset about this. She cries all the time because she wants her mom, but she doesn't know what else her mom has lied about and she doesn't trust her. Oh. Apparently, Olivia's aide called my ex because she's been having a hard time in school, and now my ex-wife is demanding that I send Olivia home so they can get back to their routines and start working with her therapist to help her get over this. But I told her Olivia will go back when she's ready. Now she's threatening to call the police and or take me back to court. Ooh. Over custody interference, even though we've always had a friendly co-parenting relationship. My wife thinks we should send her back to avoid drama, but I think it should be Olivia's choice. Am I the a-hole for refusing to send her back after she found out her mom lied to her? Okay, this is what I think. I think that the mom lied in an adult way. Like, she lied to her daughter so she wouldn't, I guess, project it on herself, is what I would assume that the mom probably thought about. It's just like, the mom was feeling burnt out. So I think her sending her to her dad's house was a good thought to have on the mom's behalf, because you don't want to be trying to take care of your kid that requires a lot of attention while you're burnt out, because you're just gonna make the kid feel like they are such a burden on you, right? I don't think the mom did anything wrong. I think that the kid is having a kid response, and like, she's only freaking 12, so I feel like any 12-year-old would be like, Mom, what the heck, why'd you lie to me? Because like, they can't understand the adult layers to it yet. The only way that this kid is going to get any kind of like further progress in processing this is by interacting with the mom in some facet, and you're withholding the child. So I feel like you are the a-hole. I really don't even think this is like an everybody sucks situation, because I don't think the mom or daughter are really doing anything wrong. So I want to see why people think that as well. Yes, you are the a-hole. You're blowing this way out of proportion, and you need to let the mom talk to her and resolve this issue. And from a legal standpoint, no, you can't withhold her daughter from her for literally months. I'm actually appalled that you have a good co-parenting relationship, yet this is how you deal with a problem and you think that benefits your daughter. That's what I was saying. You might have had like a friendly and like wonderful co-parenting experience up to this point, but that's because there was probably no other conflict. Conflict is really where you see people's true colors, and I feel like this dad just is a complete agreeer all the time with the daughter because he doesn't want to side with the mom. You know, like, he might be friendly with her, but he might still have that animosity of, you're not my wife. Even his wife is like, just send her back. You are the a-hole. I'm autistic and so is my kid. Both of us would find this kind of lie upsetting, but it needs to be dealt with, and you refusing to send her home is making it worse. You went along with the lie as well. You have always had a good co-parenting relationship up until this point, so don't mess it up now. Have your ex over and present a united front. Mom should not have lied about why she was going away, and I shouldn't have gone along with it. We are sorry sometimes grown-ups screw up. We need to get back to our normal routine, so now you are going home with mom. That's another thing, like, your daughter has autism and there are required routines for the well-being and upkeeping of well-being for this kid. So, for any kid really, but like especially ones with special needs. So it's like, I would even go as far as to say that he is like actively making it worse. It seemed like she was like doing therapy and that's not being done while at her dad's, and I feel like that's just a huge disservice. Ooh, this one person said, as a parent to neurodivergent children, it is our job to help them navigate a world that is not built for them. Encouraging her rigid thinking is dangerous. Yeah, I feel like this comment is the most black and white one. It sounds like you are taking advantage of this. She needs to go back home and work it out. Okay, this next one. Am I the a-hole for telling my in-laws not to pick on my wife? And it's tagged as not the a-hole already. And if it's just black and white like the title, like, I don't think you are. My wife, 25 female, and me, 25 male, are trying to make plans for the holidays, and this year my wife wants to do Christmas with her family. My wife's family are not very nice to her. They pick on her a lot, like backhanded comments that are supposed to be jokes, particularly her brothers, but occasionally her dad too. So I texted her mom, 52 female, dad, 51 male, and brothers, 22 male, 28 male, and 30 male. Sorry. Without telling her, and said that we were excited to be with them for Christmas, but asked them to please keep their snarky comments to themselves. I told them that the comments calling her immature, dumb, and annoying are unnecessary and rude, and they really hurt her feelings. Her dad responded that my wife has always been a bit sensitive, and this is just the way they are as siblings. This got back to my wife because her mom sent her screenshots of the text messages. And she said to please don't create any more drama during the holidays. Here's my justification for the text. 1, she got a porch goose for Christmas, which she asked for, and she was really excited and telling all of the clothes she wanted to make from it. That is so cute. That is adorable. Her brother rolled his eyes and said she was immature. Then she got really embarrassed and just seemed sad. That happened several more times when she was opening gifts. When I asked her to show me some of the patterns for the clothes she was going to make for the porch goose later, she got embarrassed again and said she didn't want to talk about it. Oh. I would like to point out that she is a full-time nanny and housekeeper. Like, she just sounds like a joy to have around kids. Her being a nanny makes so much sense. She's a full-time nanny and housekeeper to 3 kids, so even if it were immature, she has an excuse. 2, sometimes her brothers just randomly call her dumb. Like at her family's 4th of July get-together, she and one of her brothers were going back and forth about roundabouts, and he just shut down the conversation by saying he doesn't argue with people who didn't go to college, and she said almost nothing the rest of the night, even after we got home. Number 3, my wife lost a good deal of weight a few years back, but her family is constantly commenting on her food choices and how much or little she eats. I think it means for a few months. For a few months to keep her on track, they reminded her that most people who lose weight gain it all back. In spite of all of this, most of the time her family is pleasant to be around. Just like minus all of like the flat out bullying. They're actually pretty nice people. But it's like they just can't help themselves and need to make these digs at her. When I try to, or she tries to say, don't say that, it's always like, it's just a joke, you're reading too much into it. It's just hard for me to see this happen. When I try to bring it up to her, she closes down or says that it's just how her family is. I just don't want to spend another holiday watching her try to brush it off. Now, according to my wife, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and brother-in-laws are all mad at me, and according to them, I have already ruined Christmas in October. Maybe I should have left this up to my wife, but I know she wouldn't do it. Am I the a-hole for telling my in-laws to not pick on my wife? No. I think what has happened is your wife has become so used to the constant, like, I would go as far as to say abuse at this point. She seems like an absolute joy, so she seems like one of those people that endured a lot and would rather have a familial connection than stand up for herself, because she wants, like, she seems like she just loves people. So she would rather keep those relationships than cut it off, even if it's for her own well-being. I just think the whole problem is her family. And like, I think that she is just a product of suppression. Like, I just feel like her reaction is warranted based on the context of that. But I really wish that soon she would understand that it's done out of love and it's better for her. Like, she wanted it to be with her family too, so like that's why I think she cares about her family a lot. See what people are saying about her days. Oh, this person. When you are there, after these rude remarks, ask them if that was supposed to be a joke. When they say yes, then ask them what was funny about it. The poster said, this is great advice. Clearly me saying, hey, stop, that's mean, isn't effective. Oh, this is what I said. Your poor wife has been conditioned to this abuse. I'm sure it's been way worse long before you even came along. That she can't even accept or welcome anyone coming into her defense, let alone defend herself. Why? Because they get mad at her, and now you. Look at your mother-in-law. Her first reaction was to screenshot the— oh, I completely heard. The mother-in-law was, I feel like, just an instigator. Like, she's a 50-year-old woman and she's like acting as if this is middle school drama. Like, look what Shelly said about you. They have been calling her sensitive, excusing it as jokes, and punishing her for ever speaking up. Now Christmas has been ruined, and I bet they will tell her that either you aren't invited— oh God, and she will be forced to go and deal with the abuse alone. Or they will ban both of you from Christmas to punish her and try to force you to apologize and respect their culture, because that's how it's always been. I'm a sister with 2 brothers, and while we joke, such a loser for drafting that player in fantasy football, as an example, we never speak to each other like they do to your wife. If it were me, I'd go to marriage and counseling with her, have an independent professional listen, may help her see, ooh, that's actually great advice. Like having somebody else listen to her explain all of this stuff could probably help her like build up her self-esteem again and have her stand up for herself or create boundaries as needed. I feel like this one is so black and white. That is so black and white. This next one, would I be the a-hole if I stopped attending family events because I wasn't directly invited? Off the bat, like this one's new so it has no tag. My relationship with my sister, right? If we have family events with like me and her and like our kids, our significant others, whatever, I don't think that there would ever be a year where I just assume that she knows that things are happening. I would still like formally invite her. I don't understand, like you're sending out invites to everybody else. You're inviting everybody else directly, so why not do everybody? And then you can't like sit there and be mad that they're not coming because like you're not inviting them. That's what I think so far. I have a relatively large family who gathers a few times a year for birthday parties, little random dinners and celebrations, holidays, etc. I love that. When I was younger, it was normal for invites to be given to my parents versus myself, since we were a family unit. Now I'm 25, not living with my family and not in constant contact with my parents. It's been an issue for a few years now, but I'm constantly not being told of events unless by my parents. This ends up being last minute notice, often with incorrect information, causing me to have conflicting plans and then missing out entirely. It makes me feel forgettable by my extended family and does not make me want to put the effort forth to present at these events. I need to make it clear that inviting me via my parents is not suitable anymore. Though I thought I had done that, it's clear it wasn't heard. I just want to feel like my time and presence is respected and that I'm not making an effort where that's not appreciated. Current situation, my second cousin, toddler age, is having a birthday party today, which I was not directly invited to and was told by my mother it will be tomorrow. I have made plans for this evening, but even if I didn't, I'm not feeling particularly excited to force my presence when it wasn't requested in the first place. My overall question is, would I be the a-hole if I didn't attend my young cousin's birthday party because of inconsistency in information? Would I be the a-hole if I stopped putting effort into getting the information necessary to be present? I don't think you would be the a-hole, personally, and I also think that, oh my god, getting information from your parents should not be this hard about things. Like it shouldn't be an issue. I feel like you should be getting like your own invite if you are especially moved out and have been for a while. And if you voiced it at one point, like, I understand like sometimes like it gets convoluted and you should say it a second time if you are really like serious about it, but if it's been years at this point and you have been moved out, I feel like at that point it just becomes natural to assume that you would send an invite to that person's house instead of their parents still. I feel like if you missed the birthday, right? And then you miss one more small little like event, right? I feel like at that point somebody should ask you if they care, and if they don't ask, even your parents, where you have been, then I would say that that is the answer, and that is really disheartening to learn because you seem like you have a really decent family that is very oriented with spending time with each other, and I think that's great. I wish that I had that kind of family dynamic that was very large and, just very festive, but I feel like it's one of those things where like it's so big that not everybody cares about every single person coming. I think it's more of a numbers thing at that point. This one person said, how about sending every single member of your family your contact information as a change of address, noting that recently you've been getting invitations through your parents and you would appreciate it if the invites could come directly to you as you no longer live with your parents, so you're not hearing about family events in time to plan accordingly. Then next time you're not invited directly, as with this toddler party, send a message to everyone saying how sorry you are that you can't make it, but because the invitation didn't come to you directly, you have already made plans. Basically explain the situation. Okay, the OP said, no intention of excluding myself to the point of severing relationships. I love these people. I appreciate the suggestion and I'm creating my own group message to make sure they've had contact info correct. And my message is clear. We'll absolutely be doing that, thank you. I hope this works out. Next, would I be the a-hole for having a chosen name that is the exact same as my best friend's OC? This is so niche. I, female to male, have been friends with my best friend, female to male, for almost 6 years now. I really hope this isn't like a friendship rift thing because that's a hefty relationship so far. I've settled on a chosen name, but for a while I've been considering another name. For clarity, let's say it's Lee. A few months ago, my friend created a few OCs, one of which is named Lee, and these OCs are some of his favorites and very personal to him. Today I told him I was considering the name Lee, and he brought up his OC Lee, and suggested some other names for me. I asked him if he'd prefer I don't use Lee, in which case I just stick with the name I'm currently using as I do somewhat like it. But he didn't answer and changed the topic. For a bit more context, I also had an OC who was a self-insert, our mutual friend, and his best friend. So it's their mutual friend. I think it's like a casual friend to the poster, and then best friend with the OC person, had asked me to make. And my friend said I couldn't name that OC Lee despite his name not existing in the universe of our mutual friend story. So like the name Lee is just off the table entirely with this person. I don't want to make him upset by changing my name to Lee anyway, but I like the name a lot more than the one I currently go by, and it fits it better with my middle name and last name since both it and my dead name have the same number of syllables. Would I be the a-hole if I changed my name anyway? If it helps, we are both autistic, though I am on the lower end of the spectrum, so that might be the reason why he doesn't want me using the name of his favorite OC of his. I think a conversation needs to be had, but I don't know how receptive it's going to be, but from what I've gathered, people with autism tend to like a lot more transparency, so if we're having this issue, I feel like it would be best to make it transparent and just bring it up to your friend, rather than just like keep it to yourself and sort of like pop out one day like, hey, my name's Lee now, and then have them feel a little bit, because I feel like with how passionate he is about it, I feel as though it might affect your friendship a lot, just because I feel like it would be viewed as a severe cross of boundary, and like you have all of these indicators as to why they would not like it. You're not wrong for wanting the name. I feel like they're a little bit more wrong for being so gatekeepy over the name. It's an OC. I don't know. I mean, nobody owns a name and these OCs aren't real. If you think the names fits you, then yeah, not the a-hole. Sounds like there may be issues with it afterwards though. That's what I was saying. It's just I don't really know where to say what should happen. Because I think you have a right to change your name to it if you want to. They have a right to feel protective over it. But like, I just think a conversation needs to be had, because then there can be like a joint understanding of like, oh, this is a very important name for my character that I feel very attached to. And then you can present the argument of, well, this is a very important name that I feel really suits me as a person, and however you discovered it, if you discovered it through the OC, not the a-hole. And this is a really strange thing to have a problem with. If one of my friends had the same name as one of the characters, or characters with the same name as one of my characters, I think it would be fun. That's what I was saying. If like there was a share, I think it would be cutesy. Oh, not the a-hole. My sister ended up falling in love with the name of one of my OCs and chose that name for herself. People can share names, doubly so when one of them is fictional. I could understand it being weird at first, but this is a non-issue, so your friend should get over it soon. I agree. I feel like it's a lot of nothing. I can see where people are coming from, I guess, but I don't think that it should be an issue. I really don't. This one I chose because I have a sister and I think I would have some advice for this. Am I the a-hole for confronting my sister? There's a lot of emotional oh god. I didn't read the first time before choosing it. There's a lot of emotional trauma and factors in this story, so I'll try my best to keep it brief. My sister and I have always been close. I'm 5 years younger than she is, and our family has been through a lot. When I was 19, living with my mom and dad alone, my mom decided to have an affair. They both have their demons, alcohol being a big problem. They would come home every night drunkenly and get into fights, and I felt like I was alone, always in the middle. I would vent to my sister and ask to come over. She knew I was struggling and circumstances were bad. As we got older, I think I always carried resentment over what she didn't do to help the situation, even though it wasn't her fault. I always thought she'd help me, or at least take away some of the situation. She lived in a 4-bedroom house, and I was college-bound in less than a few months. Her boyfriend was very controlling, and I always felt bad speaking up. Years go by and I'm living by myself with a stable job, dating and trying to navigate adulthood. Mending my family relationships have always been a struggle, with my mom and my sister, because my dad had passed, which brought on a whole new set of challenges. That is... oh my god. My mom ran away to live with a guy 2 hours away without telling anyone, and my sister has a kid living her own life. I don't have any family by me other than them, and I feel like I've just been unworthy of their time. I see my sister being active on social media about her friends being the ones keeping her going, even though I try with every fiber of my being to keep our relationship alive, but I feel like the only one trying. We had a phone call, which I feel like broke me. I try to set a boundary and tell her about how I feel like our relationship is going. I expressed to her how her posts and lack of communications made me feel. She then complained about how she wasn't mentally okay and how she's been busy. I mentioned the concerts and things she was doing with her friends and how all I was asking for was a text. She then continued to tell me that I was jealous of her friendships and relationships. I felt incredibly hurt and rejected from her when she said that, and I hadn't been able to let that go. I tried to offer to pay for therapy to work on it, and she rejected the idea, saying it was too expensive and she didn't want to see my therapist or any other. I felt exhausted and extremely frustrated with both relationships with my mom and my sister. It saddens me to think I don't see my nephew and how close we once were. I don't even know what my next steps are as it has been months without hearing from my mom or my sister. My friends are all saying families don't treat each other that way, and if they wanted a relationship, they would also put in the effort to be there. My friends are my family right now. Am I the a-hole? Any advice is appreciated. I feel like this is a very obviously complicated relationship. This is so sad. She lived in a 4-bedroom house. Okay, her boyfriend was very controlling. Okay, I want to take into consideration all things. I don't think mostly anything could prevent me from helping my sister in this situation. I'm also not in her shoes. If the boyfriend was controlling, I wouldn't necessarily rule out the fact that he might have been abusive to her. If he was, it might have been a contributing factor as to why she is acting the way she is to you now. If he is confirmed not to be, or it never had been abusive to her, and it was just very controlling, it might have been like she might have been very submissive in that kind of treatment because of how the parents were being towards her too. I do think there is a layer of responsibility on the older sibling to try to help the younger sibling through things, and also you were 19, so legally you could have left the house to live with her, so her offering to give you room and board was not like an insane thing to ask about. And then there's a lot to consider, because if you're getting that college money from your parents, you can't do that because then they can cut you off and then you can't go to college. I think how your sister is acting towards you is very upsetting. I don't think you're the a-hole. I just feel like there is so many layers to it, to where the way her sister might be acting might make sense to her, because everybody deals with trauma differently. Like, you're reaching out, some people distance themselves and just try to find family and connections with people outside of relationships. I don't think you're the a-hole. I feel like your sister is battling her own things and your mom is just living her life in whatever kind of disrespectful way. There are no posts on this thing. That is my take on it. I feel like you're not the a-hole. Ultimately, I feel like after this, the best thing you can do for yourself is just not try after this. Because I feel like this was a big indication on how she feels towards you. And another thing that I think might make why she is acting that way a little bit more like clear, if this is the case, I don't know. She might view you as a reminder of how things were, because like you said, you would always vent to her about it. I'm talking to you guys as if like you are the poster, but I don't think it justifies anything that the sister did, because I feel like there needs to be some form of unification among siblings with things, but unfortunately that's just not the case here. Okay, this is the last one, and it is the biggest one. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be friends with my sister's boyfriend after my friends started telling me, and I soon witnessed that he was making homophobic and racist jokes when he knows I'm LGBTQ+ and want to pursue activism and human rights? Right off the bat, no. I do not think that anybody should want to be friends with somebody that does these kinds of things, whether you are part of those communities or not, whether you want to pursue activism and human rights or not. I feel like it's a moral thing, and I don't mean to have it turn into like a bigger cluster issue. I feel like it says a lot about your sister though. Like, if she knows about this and she's still dating him, that's crazy. Anyways, my sibling and I, we're close in age, have done everything together since the moment we were born. Okay, so they are best friends. And she's dating somebody like this, I better find out that she just does not know. Because if she knows about this, that is a whole other problem that you need to talk about with your sister. We have always been super close and pursued similar extracurriculars before we moved to a new school and county. Oh, and country. I came out to my family and my world basically completely changed, and I had to refine myself. And because of that, I want to fight for human rights. When we moved to this new school, because we moved to a different country, one of my sisters met this guy and they started dating. Because he never really made jokes around me, I didn't know about the jokes until my friends told me. I started distancing myself from him, and so did my other sibling. Soon we both weren't talking to the BF, even when he went to the same school. Then, my friend one day sends me screenshots of something he posted online that was super sexist and was the final line for me. My parents didn't really want to take a side either because they feared that my sibling, who had the boyfriend, wouldn't have anyone to talk to and feel like everyone was against them. Months later, like 3 years of them dating, I decided to take the three of us out to a fancy dinner, and I was going to fully pay for it. We all had makeup on and everything. Literally 20 minutes into the dinner, my sibling with the BF says that her BF wants to know why they don't like him. Now, the restaurant we were at was one of my most beloved places. Everyone knew me at the restaurant because I had worked there, and it was just a special place because of the inclusive, I'm guessing, atmosphere, which is why I wanted to take them there. So basically, all my friends saw me discussing with my sibling about the BF. I bring up how he makes jokes that are offensive and I can't be friends with a person like that. She defends him by saying they lightened the mood? And whatever. How do they lighten the mood? Months pass with there being unresolved tension when he, the BF, contacts me and asks why I don't like him by text. And being blunt and honest, I tell him that I appreciate him reaching out and all, but I cannot be friends with a person who makes those type of jokes because they are communities I am a part of, and defending them, seeking justice, is something I am incredibly passionate about. I said that until he changes, we cannot be friends. He then replies with the equivalent of a laughing face and says that my friends make those jokes as well, and asking why are they offensive if he doesn't mean them. By then, I'm done, and I write him a massive text talking about how I feel disrespected, how he is trying to justify his actions instead of owning up, how he is trying to accuse my friends of doing it to justify his actions yet again, and he knows that they don't make those jokes and they have the same stance as me. Also, that I've given him more than one chance and he doesn't want to change, and now he doesn't want to listen to me because he would say, okay, that bothers you, I understand that. He then responded saying, thanks I guess, I do try, but he wasn't taking it seriously and kept sending emojis. She's dating trash, like what even? So she knows about it. She knows about it. I feel like that's like a moment where I would just be so utterly gobsmacked, and then it would be no longer an issue between me and my sister's boyfriend. It would be an issue between me and my sister. Because you're telling me that you know about this kind of stuff and you think it lightens the mood when you actively know that that's something that I would find offensive. You're not part of the community. You don't get to say if it's offensive or not. What do you mean? This is the kind of stuff we're putting up with. You're not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You are not obligated to be friends with anyone, much less someone who treats a group you are a part of with scorn. It's telling that when you told him, he didn't even try to apologize. I didn't even catch the fact that he didn't try to. I'm too hung up on the fact that her sister knew. Try to blow it off. It's also a shame that your sister basically told you that she wouldn't stand up for her own family to her boyfriend. Not the a-hole, but you have a bigger problem brewing with your sister, assuming she agrees with her BF that also makes her homophobic. Quite frankly, if somebody replies to me saying something truly honest and just hey, these are the reasons why I actually hate you, with an emoji, oh, suddenly we're gonna it doesn't even matter if she found it funny or not. She's defending it. I personally am on the line of silence is compliance with this, so if she's not standing up for you, she's endorsing it. Alright, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that some of these boiled your blood just like mine. So if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Comment down which one you found the most irritating. I think the husband one was just the light in this dark tunnel that we were going down. Thank you guys for being on that journey with me. Anyways, I will see you guys next time.